So in this video we will create a recursive function. A recursive function is just a function that calls itself. So let's write a function to calculate a factorial of n when n is any non-negative integer. So factorial of n is a product of all the positive integers less than or equal to n. For example, if n equals 4 and we want the factorial of 4, we'll have the product of all the integers less than or equal to 4. So 4, 3, 2 and 1, which equals 24. So let's write a function to do this for us. So def and then factorial, and then we want to pass in a number n. Now first we want to check that it is actually a non-negative integer. If it's not an instance integer, or if n is a negative number, we want to give the user an error. So let's raise a value error, and let's give the message n has to be a non-negative integer. So if it is a non-negative integer, we want to do a check if n is less than or equal to 1. So we do elif n is less than or equal to 1. Now if it is less than or equal to 1, we want to return 1, else we want to return the product of n and the factorial of n minus 1. So let's say we call the factorial function f and we pass it the value 4. That will then go through the if statement and it will go and call the factorial of n minus 1. So it will go and call the function again, and this time it will call it with 3, and it will go through the same process again, and this time we'll call it with 2, and then it will call it with 1. So when factorial is given the value 1, it will go through the if statement and it will return the 1 because n is less than or equal to 1. So this function here will now return a 1. So this factorial n minus 1, so 2 minus 1, will give back a 1. So factorial 2 will do 2 times the 1 which it got returned, and then that will return a 2, and then factorial 3 will do the same, so it'll do 3 times what was returned to it, which is the 2, and it'll return 6, and then factorial 4 will do 4 times what was returned to it, which is 6, and it'll return back 24, which is the correct answer. So let's give that a try. So let's print factorial and then pass it 4. If we save that and run that, you can see that we get 24 back. And let's try another number, so let's say 6 and run that, and we get 720. Let's also test our value check work, so let's give it a negative integer and then save that and give that a run. And you can see that gives us a value error and the message n has to be a non-negative integer with a typo. So that's how you use recursive functions to work out a factorial of a number. If you have any questions, like always, just leave them down in the comments below. Until next time.